Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Tails Adventure. In the last part we did some further exploring around the island and got some new items in the process, namely the large bomb if I recall. And we're back in the volcanic tunnel because now that we have that large bomb, we can access the boss of this area that we couldn't access before. And I'm fast forwarding through the first room of the volcanic tunnel just because we've been here before, we don't need to see this again. I just needed the time to make the intro. Obviously, you still need the remote bomb in order to access certain areas of the volcanic tunnel, so make sure you bring that. But once you reach area 2 of it, or room 2 technically, that's where this area gets pretty short. Because the, what's it called? Blocks we need to break are right below us right now, if I recall. Yeah, just to the right. These are only breakable by the Great Bomb, though the weird thing is, some Great Bomb breakable blocks, well, I keep on saying Great Bomb, that's its name in Japan. Either way, some of the blocks it can break can also be broken by the Sonic icon for some reason. And this area is really short. This basically just serves to get you to the boss fight, and even then, this is one of the easier boss fights in the game for two particular reasons. I do like that you have to revisit some earlier areas in order to fight their bosses, because having to fight a boss on the first run through every stage would be kind of not only predictable, but also a bit too repetitive for its own good. Yeah, like these blocks right here. I think the Great Bomb can break these, but you can also just use the Sonic icon. At least I think so. The blocks can be kind of hard to tell apart. Yeah, these are Great Bomb and Sonic thing exclusive. I do wish they had a better way for you to be able to tell or distinguish the blocks from each other, but I can't complain too much. Now, here you can either go right or left. I prefer to go left, but you can also go right, but I'll get into why in a moment, because we're coming up on Volcanic Tunnel's boss fight. Another Mecha Golem, actually, if you recall the one from the other tunnel place that I can't remember the name of. Only this one is stationary, and it's stuck onto a wall. It likes to shoot pellets out in various directions, and that is its main way of attacking you. You can attack the mask as usual, or you can go and fly above it and hit that glowing part, which does extra damage. If you headed right at the fork, you would have rounded around to this side, and you could have just thrown remote bombs into here to not even have to actually face the guy. He's really easy. And for beating him, we get this item. Extra armor, which is another item for the Sea Fox, which basically grants you invincibility. It is obscene, and I love it. Though we don't get to use it too much, but I'll get into that in a moment. And the only reason I had this footage here is because I was explaining you could have gone around to the right, headed up into that room, and just attacked this guy from behind. Because I honestly also didn't see the door right here. But with that, we're done in Volcanic Tunnel, and now we're gonna head back over to Poly Mountain 1. Because you might have remembered, there is one item here I didn't get yet, only because it was yet again behind a bunch of blocks only the Great Bomb could break. I keep on calling it the Great Bomb, that's its Japanese name. And mind you, it is kind of deceptive, because even though it's called the Large Bomb, there's still a G on it for Great Bomb. And there's the item. I don't even think you can use the Sonic power-up for this one, so yeah. Also, fun fact, you can also use the Sonic power-up in midair, but I always forget to show that off. Either way, over here we got the Rocket Booter. It's supposed to be Booster, but it's the Booter, which is another Sea Fox exclusive item. It only has one use, and it's to access another area in the very near future. And even then, it's a pretty passive item, too. I don't think you can use it aside from just having it equipped. And with that, we're done in Poly Mountain in general. So now, I want to head back to Tails' house and change my items around a bit. I want to replace whatever I have in my second slot, I forget what it is actually at the moment, with the Remobot. The Sonic icon, okay. Because the Sonic icon, while I like having it, I prefer to have the Remobot around at the moment, because I don't want to break the game too much, because the Sonic ability is the closest thing the game has to something that's utterly obscene. And now I want to cut on over to the second screen of Poly Force, because there was one item here I didn't get earlier. Why? Honestly, it's because I just didn't feel like getting it at the time. I had the item to get it, I only need the Remobot, I just didn't feel like getting it. Mostly because it's not an item that has any real use to me. Just fly up here, get out your Remobot, and then go through the very simple tunnel. You could have done this much earlier. It's just the fact that I just don't feel like getting this one until now, because this item has no real use to me. Though, if I recall, this is actually the first item we ever saw, even before getting the first Chaos Emerald. And it is the radio. It's a sound test, basically. You put it in an inventory slot, go to a stage, and when you have it equipped, you can press change the background music when you press 1. If you want to go to like an early game area and just listen to just one of the other songs, it can be useful, I suppose, but it's a waste of an inventory slot, basically. And now back at Tails' house once again, because I want to change some stuff around. Basically, I'm showing you that we're missing 3 items, and I'm going to show you that I'm actually changing the Sea Fox's equipment around as well. I'm bringing in the Photon Torpedo, the extra armor, the mine, and the spark, just because I want to show it off, because now we're back in the second screen of Lake Rocky. You might remember that there was a passageway here that I told you about that you can only access with the mines, but I told you not to go there yet, because there's no way you'd be able to survive that well. That's because you want to have the extra armor, which, as I said before, basically invincibility, and the spark is a screen nuke. The Sea Fox is the closest thing that gets being absolutely broken in terms of its abilities, but honestly, you only really have a short opportunity to use these items. Because, I'll be honest, this is the only time in the game I use them. Because the pathway to where we're heading next is loaded with not only mines, but these little cannons. And the cannons, when they hit you with their fire, does 10 damage. And that sucks. That means if you don't want to get killed here without using the extra armor, you only have 6 shots. If you don't want to get hit, well then good luck, because there's a lot of these things. This trek sucks. It's why I recommend you didn't go down here earlier. But you're going to need the items I brought with me just because it makes things easier. You need the mines in order to progress through certain things. And you're going to need the Photon Torpedo in order to break a certain thing later. By the way, the Photon Torpedo, I forgot to mention it when I got it, but basically, I say it's an upgraded Vulcan cannon, but I only mean that in terms of what it does. It's a straight-firing weapon, yes, but it also slightly homes in on enemies. Usually just weaning up or down, depending on when needed. But yeah, this area can go die in a fire. I don't like it. I've only ever done it without the extra armor once, and I'm pretty sure that took me an hour, roughly. So, don't do that. Ever. I think you're supposed to get past these mines that fall from the ceiling by using the extra speed ability. But honestly, just have extra armor. It's so much more useful. I won't be surprised if the only reason the extra armor exists is because this section was too hard for some of the playtesters. Because I could see that being a very good possibility. Either way, you're gonna need the Photon Torpedoes right here, because see that gray block? Only the Photon Torpedoes can destroy that. So just stand right in front of it and fire forward. It doesn't go down in one shot, it takes a few. But you'll know when it's gone, because it'll very clearly just fade out of existence like that. And with that, we're done with Lake Rocky. We never need to come back here because this is the final room. And it's basically just a breather. Overall, I do wish they'd made this place a little more forgiving, but at least you have the extra armor there, so yay. And with that, we have access to the Grand Kuku Army's main base, Cocoa Island. Kind of odd, because that's supposed to be the name of the actual main island, but oh well. And this is actually a pretty large area. You got switches all over the place that turn off these little electrical barriers, and a lot of really annoying enemies, including these crouching green birds. You cannot hurt them while they're crouching, only when they're standing, and when they're standing, they're shooting you. So you're going to want to fly a lot in this area. There's also a lot of pathways that lead to dead ends, and a lot of conveyor belts. The conveyor belts, you actually have a pretty good way around if you have the Sonic ability, but there is another way later on that I'll go over once we actually get to it next part. There's also a lot of those blocks that you can fall through but not go back up over. The triple bomb is pretty useful here, obviously, so make sure you bring that. Though I actually forgot to mention, if the name wasn't obvious, the triple bomb is actually technically 3 bombs in one. The main part about this place that's kind of annoying is just figuring out where to go in your first playthrough. If you know where to go, this place is actually pretty short, and honestly a pretty fun level, if not a tad on the long side. Even with knowing where to go. There's also a lot of annoying backtracking if you screw up one of these little block sections if you fall too far. Like if you fall down here, you have to go all the way back up to the left and then come all the way back up around. It's pretty stupid. Not the worst Final Fortress area though. Though 2 of the last 3 items are actually found in this area, so make sure to keep your eyes open for them. And if you're wondering where the last item is, it's in the last level. I hate that design choice because, honestly, you shouldn't have an item in the last level that's necessary for completion, even if it's only useful in that level. Maybe if they had put it in this stage, it would have been better in my eyes, because then if you found it, it would have made the last level less annoying, but not a fan of that. Either way, in this section with the crumbling floor, stick around here and you can find the first item, which is the one you really want to get, honestly. And I'm being really stupid about dodging stuff, or my aim. Either way, the item that we got here is, yet again, pretty useful. It's the yellow Chaos Emerald. The last Chaos Emerald, and getting it doesn't increase our health by 10, it increases it all the way up to 99. And our flight meter is now maxed out at I think 15-16 seconds, so that's pretty good. Admittedly, one of the hard things about this level is finding out where to go, mostly also because of the fact that everything kind of blends together. It all looks the same. Just know that you start in the top left and you want to make your way to the bottom left eventually. At which point, this stage actually becomes pretty short afterwards. Though the next item is right nearby, and it's one you might easily miss if you're not paying attention. Fall down here, fall through this hole, and there it is. The teleport device. As its name would imply, it teleports you back to Tails' house whenever you need it. It's basically there so you can get out of areas should you need an item you don't have, especially in these last few levels. But honestly, yet again, I think it could have been placed a bit earlier on to have a way out of the stages. It's very similar to the exit device from the Mega Man X series, actually. Though I'm not sure if you actually need to beat the boss in an area in order to use it. I don't think you do. That'd be kind of stupid. Also, conveyor belts with the Remo bot are really dumb because you have to hold the jump button down in order to actually be able to progress in any specific good rate. Those little blue sonic waves that these things are emitting are actually one of the few things that can actually disable the Remo bot. So if you get hit by those, it's going to teleport all the way back to you, meaning you have to go through that conveyor belt section all over again. Thankfully, they're practically the only hazard that could make the damn thing stop. And once you know it, they're in the last levels, so nothing too bad. At this point, just follow the straightforward path. A good idea to know where to go next actually is to follow the red cables in the background, because they usually lead, if not to a switch, if not to a pathway to a switch that you need in order to press in order to progress. Wow, that sentence died quickly. The red cables often lead to a switch you need to press in order to progress. There we go. Speaking can be hard. Some people find it easy. I have always had trouble with it for some reason. I think these cannons are entirely invulnerable, by the way, so watch out for that. Thankfully, you can just fly over them. Admittedly, when I first played through the game, I was the kind that always tried to walk everywhere because I thought flying, first off because it was limited, kind of sucked. But also just because I didn't have as many Chaos Emeralds as I do now. I think I only had 4 out of the 6 my first playthrough. And that's including the one we found in this level, so maybe it's just because I didn't have enough flight to be able to do anything, but nowadays, if I have flight, I abuse it because it's honestly pretty useful. Plus, I think flying is just slightly faster than walking, but I'm not entirely sure about that. Useless switch, by the way. What is the point of that? Really though, Kuku Island, once you get down to basics and knowing where to go, it's a pretty simple area. Some of the enemies can be annoying, but honestly, it's pretty simple. And coming through here, we come to this area's boss, who only shows up now, and is also one of the only other 2 characters in the Sonic series with a doctorate, Dr. Fukurov. However, he's very similar to the Boo Beam Trap in a way, where the main boss of him is the level itself. You have to destroy this little pathway to the right here, and then bring out your Remo bot in order to finish it. It's very much so a puzzle room. You might spend some time lollygagging in this room and getting hit trying to figure out what to do, but honestly, it's fairly simple. Just fly up here and follow this little path through the maze, and you'll find out what to do fairly simply. Though I have to admit, that is one glorious beard. Don't fall through there, by the way, because that'll cause your Remo bot to go through the entire thing all over again, and that's no good. Come past the wall he was over, and you see that kind of out-of-place rock? Smash the guy with it. And he died. And with that, the level's basically done. Step on the switch that pops up after killing him, basically. And just fly to the left, and we're done with Kuku Island. Pretty anticlimactically. And just getting your Sea Fox again, you're automatically teleported back to the world map. Why can't I move? Oh. Oh, that's a big warship. But with that, I'm going to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching. And in part 5, we're heading on over to the Grand Kuku Army's final base in order to end this adventure off. See you guys then.